Welcome to Honest Convos with Karen.
And Marcia. We're longtime biz besties bringing you along for the journey of building a business and life you actually want.
No fluff, no filters, just honest conversations about the highs, the lows, and everything in between.
So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's get into it.
Welcome back to Honest Convos. And this episode, we are going to talk about something that I feel like it's not talked about enough for people who have an online business and who are like, especially a solo, we talk about a lot. You're wearing all the hats, solopreneur, you're doing all the things. You have to kind of, be the strategic brain, the marketing brain, the operations, the finance and back end. I mean, you have to think about so many different things. And sometimes there are like big activities involved, in those different lanes of your business. Maybe it's like, doing some quarterly planning, that takes a lot of energy, a lot of thought, a lot of being clear about what you want. Or putting together a launch, I mean, the amount of moving pieces for a launch, depending on what you're doing, I mean, it can be astronomical. So, like, that can be something that a lot of energy, a lot of thought, a lot of strategic, mechanics, and just like so much that has to go into that. Don't talk to anybody who owns a business around tax time because they are like stressed the hell out, getting all their documents together, getting all, there are just so many big activities, that we have to put a lot of energy into when we're doing our business. And so, long-winded intro to say in this episode we're going to talk about the hangovers that kind of happen after you have had to put so much energy into whatever big thing was on your to-do list. So I think this is going to be a really good one, right, Marcia?
Oh, yeah. I am familiar with the hangovers. And I think the first time I mentioned like having a networking hangover, like people were like, oh my gosh, I totally get that. And it's like, it's just an exertion of energy doing something that, like, you might not, that doesn't come natural to you, but you're like, I need to do this for my business. So I'm going to go out, I'm going to dress nice, and I'm going to shake some hands. It's taxing. And like, you made a really good point that everything takes energy. And so, yeah, energy can create more energy, but there is a finite amount to it, I feel like physical energy, emotional bandwidth, that kind of thing. So, we've talked about this in a past episode where it's like the jet fuel, I think it uses like 40% or something for the takeoff. And it's like you don't get that fuel back. So, yeah, the hangovers are a natural thing. They're gonna happen anytime you're exerting yourself and kind of dipping into the reserves, or I guess just using any type of energy, but you can't feel bad about it. And when we were talking about this episode before we hit record, we mentioned like going to a conference or like a summit or a retreat, and you can immerse yourself completely in that event, and then you get back, you feel like, a bump on a log because you've just been exposed to so many external people, experiences, everything has been kind of new. And so you need that time to recover. And it doesn't mean that if you're not taking action right away that you're wasted your money or you wasted your time or energy, and just feeling kind of deflated after the fact. That's I feel like that's normal. It happens with vacations, right? Like, it happens when you plan something like weddings, like people talk about, like, after the wedding, like, there's been so much excitement leading up to it, and then after the fact you're just kind of like, what do I do now? So that's the hangover.
No, it is like that after kind of the coming down from the high, right? Of like the event or the thing or whatever it is. And even extroverts can experience that. Like, even if you're extroverted, like if you've had to be around a lot of people doing a lot of stuff like a conference, I think that like can wear anybody out. Like, so you'll definitely, you can find yourself just kind of being deflated and just tired and not even wanting to think about next steps or all the cards you collected or whatever. Or I don't know, people probably doing QR codes now. Don't I might have dated myself as to when I've been to a conference last, but it's just, yeah, it's important to like just give yourself that grace of like, I've put out a lot. I have like poured the cup and now I got to refill the cup, And so it's not, I don't think like, oh, I'm just burned out from this stuff. Oh, this must mean that this isn't for me. If I should be energized by I did my launch and now I'm just tired. Like, like you can feel like maybe this wasn't the right move or the right use of energy because I feel so kind of blah afterwards. But it's not that. That's just the natural thing that happens because like, and you can't stop. Once you finish that, like your mind is probably already thinking about like something, the next thing or whatever was next on your strategy, the next quarter, the next promotion. And so you have to give yourself like some time to just decompress after the conference, after the launch, after the big quarterly CEO planning day. Like, just give yourself a little time to decompress so that you can enjoy the moment that you're in at the moment. Enjoy the moment that you're in at the moment, because that's part of like when we're just always exhausting ourselves by moving on to the next thing too soon. We don't even really soak in like the moment. Like Marcia and I were talking about the Success Secret Society. Like we had a goal of at least 5 members. We're like, if we at least get 5, we'll know that people do love us and they want to hang out with us. And so, when we hit the 5, we were like, oh my gosh. And like we took like a moment to just kind of live in that, like we did it. Like we literally did it. Like it happened. Like we said it was gonna happen. We planned for it to happen. This is what we wanted, and it happened. So like that's a fun moment to be in. And so we are experiencing a little bit of the lunch, let down that happens because our doors closed yesterday. As of filming this, it was yesterday. I think when you're hearing it, it might have been like a week ago, but it's just like we're letting ourselves kind of live in that a little bit. And yes, we did start talking about like our promotion the next, time we're going to open the doors, but like we're not starting to plan for that yet. Like we're like we can, deal with that in a few weeks. Like right now, we just want to be in this like let down from all the energy we had to put into the launch and just enjoying the results that we just had. And that's important, like celebrating and really just having that gratitude and seeing the vision come to life. Like we don't want to just gloss over that, right? And so it's important.
I'm so glad you brought that up because it really annoyed me when I worked for the luxury builder that whenever a house closed, there was no celebration. It was just like, okay, we still have this many houses on the market. And I'm like, you really do yourself a disservice when you don't celebrate. And yeah, that was so exciting for us to like, reach our goal because it happened, like, of course it I swear the universe just kinda screws with you because it was like we got our first member, like, pretty early, and then it was like we were having conversations, and then, of course, like, right before doors almost closed, like, that's when the majority came in, but, yeah, I mean, Karen and I are always gonna celebrate because we know just how low the lows can be, so it's like, if you're not giving yourself the opportunity to just be extremely excited and grateful. Like, why that's like one of the things that I love about The Secret and metaphysics and all of that. It's like, if you can't be happy with a little bit, you're not going to be happy with a lot. Gratitude is the magic elixir for like receiving more because because you're happy with what you have. But yeah, but the hangover, oh my god, it's so real. And it's like, I feel like especially with the ADHD, because it's like a dopamine thing in your brain, like, you can only produce so much of it, but, like, towards the end, you're like you are getting, like, the pops because you have people that are submitting their applications and everything, but, like, you're going so much harder at the end, and it's like, I just always picture myself, like, mangled going over the finish line, like, I'm, like, crawling with, like, scrapes and, I do wanna give it my all, but then it's like, when it's done, there's, like, that celebration, but also it's like, "Oh my god, I just wanna lay on the couch for weeks." And then when I do let myself lay on the couch for, like, half a day, then I get moving. But if I try to just go straight into moving, then I get vertigo. I literally had a dream last night, Karen. It's so funny because, like, my sleep last night was so horrible, probably because I've been, like, drinking Red Bull and I'm on vacation right now, like, we're at the lake house, and I got, like, 3 hours of sleep last night, but I had a dream that I had vertigo, and I was so upset about it because 'cause I'm like, "Have you ever experienced vertigo?" Like, in my dream, I'm, like, screaming, being very aggressive to people, like, "This is because of stress," and it's like but that's what happens to me, like, if I don't actually, like, allow myself to just be a bump on a log for a little bit, then it physically affects me, and I'm looking forward to being a bump on the log after our kickoff call at noon today. I'm so excited.
Same. I cannot wait. But yeah, no, I love that you like and giving yourself like that space to even be excited about your rest period. Like you deserve it. You don't have to earn rest, first of all. You just deserve rest because you were born. But we do sometimes use it as a reward. And so, after you've been doing some big activities and you're just kind of feeling that emotional crash or like the flatness, it's important to just recognize that. We talk about noticing. So just like recognizing that what you just accomplished, whatever it is. Because even if we didn't get the results that we wanted, like even if we had 3 members instead of 5, we still would have been celebrating that we took the action. Like we had the idea, like we really restarted this podcast, what, like 3 months ago, maybe? Yeah, May, June, July, August. Yeah. So like 3 months ago and had an idea like as we're bumping along we're like let's start this society. Marcia kind of having the background from Charm Cardinals and like really craving to reconnect and bring people together in a container that doesn't like we're not seeing where we would even want to be, so we're like let's just create our thing for us and invite friends along. Like when we had the idea, like we toyed with like, oh, well, the summer's kind of bad. Do we do it in the fall? Do we like, because you'll always have a reason that this is not the best time. So we pushed past that. We're like, no, we're just going to go, go, go. If we can get 5 people at least to start, then we can start to build that community, start to, play with the container. Because also, we want to acknowledge and honor the small beginning because it lets us kind of like if we do like have some missteps or maybe the tech wasn't working or the calls were kind of dry. None of that's going to happen and the tech was beautiful, but like if that had happened then at least like we're falling flat like in a small space versus 20 members signed up. So like I mean it really is, that's why we said 5 and we were like very happy to just start with that smaller number so that we can like have such a good like connection with those folks, the founding members. So anyways, rambly Karen, I think it's important like to just go. Take the action when you get the inspiration, when you have the energy to put into the idea and let it like don't get tied to the results. Just focus on the effort you put in. And then after, you can just have your come down, have your rest period, do your debrief with yourself or your team if you have one, and just kind of think about like how you would do it different the next time. But it's really important to like just capitalize on that energy when you do have it, and then when it's deflated because you just spent it on that whole big thing, like let yourself rest and rebuild.
Yeah, you covered a lot just then, and I think with us, like, we know ourselves so well that, like, taking that immediate action and letting the momentum build, but also letting things come to us with ease, that's, like, magical for us, and the members that we did get, we know them. Like, we know all of them. We didn't do any ads. Like, we'll do ads in the future for future launches, but that was one of the selling points too is like, "Hey, join us as a founding member and you get to help us build this out. Like you're one of our OGs. It's basically like market research, but with our clients, because they're our members and they'll get to say, like, hey, and obviously, like, Karen and I aren't going to bend on the amount of like one-on-one time that we have, because we will be doing like the twice monthly, like, action live action calls. Are we doing live action with, like, lightsabers? And anyway, we'll be doing the live coaching calls. So, like, that probably won't adjust, but we can find out. We also have the Instagram channel and the circle and all of that, and Karen set up, like, a calendar link so that everybody can just it's just, like, the tech is beautiful. I'm excited about that, but yeah, like, the fact that we're gonna be growing this with, like, a handful of people who have already worked with us, who've, supported us, who we've supported too, it's great. Like, I had like, one of the members, we had a meeting, and she was like, "I just wanna make sure that I can provide to you what you need." And I was like, "That's freaking amazing," like, she just wants to be, like, a really good member, and I'm like, "Look, I'm like, Karen and I are in our let it be easy era. Like, we are being strategic, but we're also not forcing anything." So, with that said, I feel like it's like our hangovers are less, you know, we're not holding each other's hair back while we're puking in the toilet. It's a less violent hangover. Like, yeah, we're both like tired and like from the, it's probably like running a marathon. Like you're Which I have to say probably because I will never know firsthand what it's like to run a marathon. But it's like, you're just kind of like recovering and because you did exert all that energy as opposed to doing something where you're just white knuckling it and forcing every single thing. And then it's like you get to the end of it and you're just so disappointed because you're like, because it's not going to meet your expectation because everything was like, oh, let me just try this one thing and let me, and it's, yeah. So I feel like it's been a very beautiful process, and I'm happy for that because I know, we have our aspirations and we've talked about the future launches and everything, and like it just all and it's like we can look at anything that didn't feel okay, but like even after we took the application down, I was like, "Oh shit, like I didn't reach out to this person. I should have sent like a personal invitation to this person." And like there's like a whole list of people where I'm like, we just haven't been in the same orbit, but I'm like, I know that they probably didn't know anything about it. For the next launch that we have, we'll be able to be like, "Oh, look, we've already been in process for how long, however long, like, or this is what we've added since the first launch and whatever." So, yeah, but the hangover is real and it happens to all of us, and just don't get caught up in it because the longer you get caught up in it and the more exasperated you feel, or like the more mental mind games you have as opposed to just like feeling physically or emotionally tired. Like if you start to shame yourself about it, then you're probably not going to do the follow up, and it's, yeah.
No, it's important. So like if you do find yourself like in a hangover, really what you can do is like in advance plan that decompression time. So for example, like let's say you're going to do a quarterly planning. Like we do, planning events. And so let's say you do like a big planning thing for like the next 90 days and you're just like kind of plan like don't have like calls right after that. Like don't have calls with your clients right after that or don't be planning like a big, outing or something. Give yourself like a day or half a day or a few hours, whatever time you can spare to like have that built-in decompression after, right? And same thing with like a launch or a networking event or I mean that's why people when they go to networking they usually like or if you go to a conference, you usually are like up like passed out on your bed in the hotel room after, like just get like build that in so it doesn't feel like out of place to like you already planned to have that decompression, then it like you feel, I think, hopefully a little less like shame about it because it was in your calendar to be decompressed right now. So this is you on time. This is what you were supposed to be doing. So I think that's good. And then like taking walks, nature is the best medicine. A little sunshine, if you can, we don't have much right now as I'm filming this, it's raining outside, but like wherever you can find some sunshine or just some, a babbling brook, whatever it is. Take the dog out, take the kids to the playground, whatever gets you kind of out and just in a different environment, just so that you can kind of clear your mind, breathe in some fresh air. And we're always a fan of journaling, right? Sitting with your thoughts, how you're feeling right after the event, the launch, the networking, whatever it is, right? Like just journaling about like how you feel about your effort, not the outcome, but like the process you went through, the steps you took and the things you did, and how that felt. Like always talking about your feelings and getting those feelings out. I said talk, but in writing, in your journal, that really can help you just like process through so you don't get stuck or feel shameful about the fact that you're deflated, like all that kind of stuff. So hopefully that helps. But yeah, it's a perfectly natural thing. I don't think we can escape it, right? Like after you do a thing that takes a lot of your energy, you are 100%. Like I've not come across anyone. I mean, it's not impossible, but I haven't come across a person yet who hasn't had that kind of hangover. So just know that it's natural. We all go through it, and it's nothing to be at all like shame about or feel guilty about. I just think like planning it in just helps us kind of know that it's so natural and it's regular.
I agree. I think that that's genius having the just setting it up, knowing like I'm doing this launch and I'm gonna need to decompress. So I'm gonna, maybe the launch ends on a Friday.
Hey, friend, loving this combo?
Then don't keep it to yourself.
Hit that follow button so you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling extra generous,
Leave us a quick review. It helps more women find the show, and it honestly means the world to us.
and we really want to connect beyond the podcast. So come say hi on social.